Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Magic Mics, proudly sponsored by our Patreon supporters and CoolStuffInc.com, where you can find cool stuff in stock every day, and our co-sponsor CardHoarder.com, offering the best inventory prices and delivery of cards for Magic Online. I'm Evan Irwin, and we get started each week by saying hello to my two co-hosts, Aaron Campbell.
Good evening.
Ruben Bressler.
Oh, hi. I've tweeted already, but I'm putting it in the Discord now.
Oh, okay. We've got to make sure the Discord users are in there, and you can be a part of our Discord if you join up on Patreon. Even at the lowest level, just $1 gets you into some awesome, sometimes inane conversations between this awesome community that we have.
Usually inane.
Mm-hmm.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
No.
Yes.
But that said, we also get started with our trumpet blasts. You can get one if you support us at our highest level on Patreon, and we do have one.
We do.
We do, from user Tatakai. Gets to say, hey, wish that we could, because we got this one, we forgot this one the other week. Urza, who was not banned, should have gotten the axe, not Mox Opal. He's very disappointed in those bans.
I think it makes sense. I mean, the Urza decks are still around. You know, they're still viable. I've certainly given Urza plenty of lightning axes. So, I mean, that's something I'm on board with. But I think it's fine. I think it did what it needed to do. You know, they wanted to make sure that the deck could still flourish in some form, and it's doing that.
Yeah, how is it still busted? Is the format still unplayable?
I don't think so. I mean, I'm seeing a lot more brews coming up.
Okay.
I know there's a couple people I follow that are still jamming the Urza deck, but it doesn't seem like it's oppressive by any means.
I'm curious, you know, what the world looks like in Modern without Mox Opal kind of pressing down on it as it has.
There's been a lot of focus on Pioneer lately. I know that Inverter of Truth combo is everywhere. So most of my feed is just Pioneer right now in preparation for the Pro Tour.
There's an Inverter of Truth combo?
You play Inverter of Truth and Thassa's Oracle.
Because Inverter Truth puts your library into your graveyard, and your graveyard is your library.
Yeah, so it's a 2/2 black. It's a 6/6, sort of like the Abyssal Persecutor of Battle for Zendikar. And you put your whole library into your exile zone, and then you cast your Thassa's, you know, whatever, and you win the game. And if that doesn't work, you can board into like a Scarab God deck. It's really. I don't think it has legs. It's a deck I would definitely root for at the Pro Tour, because I'm the type of person that loves you know, seeing the crazy brews that people come up with at Pro Tour. So I think it's good for entertainment value, but I hope to God it doesn't have legs, because it just seems really quite terrible.
It might be the deck that gets Dig Through Time banned, essentially.
Oh, okay.
Because once you put all those cards in your graveyard, you can dig through time like crazy to find the Jace, you find the Oracle, boom, boom.
Well, it's not graveyard. It's exile.
Is it exile?
You exile.
No, you exile your library and then you shuffle your graveyard into your library. Okay. But if you have no cards in your graveyard/library and then cast the Thassa's Oracle, like instead of shuffling 95 cards from, you know, kill spells that you've used earlier in the game.
Sure.
So anyway, that said, we also kick it off with our first pick and giveaway. The giveaway this week is a $50 gift certificate to CoolStuffInc.com. Type !raffle in the chat for your chance to win, and subscribe to get 2 chances to win.
Do you remember how hard we used to work to be like, what are we giving away this week? Remember that?
That used to be something we would fret over.
That was a thing we would, it was like, man, what can we give away this week?
We had some pretty lame gifts for a while.
Yeah.
It
was like, here's the Planeswalker soap set. Like,
here's a potato with a joke on it. No way, that was an entire Kickstarter.
Listen, the the potato jokes were
excellent.
Those were excellent.
Well, we've talked about, for those who might have missed the pre-show, we've bounced around some other ideas, including doing cameos. So if you've ever wanted to pay us to do your voicemail or do a happy birthday, we just might be able to do that.
Or I can tell you that you're wrong and I hate you.
It's true.
I can tell you that your makeup is terrible. Yeah.
Absolutely. So this week,
your cuticles are not good in that photo.
Cuticles.
I can give you selfie tutorials. There we go.
You ain't cuticle.
I could tell you how to pronounce things wrong.
There you go. You can pay Evan to say words wrong or right.
Cacophony. I'm right here. I'm here for that cacophony life. All right.
It's whatever you're into.
I'm living it. All right. Well, look, our first pick this week is Unsanctioned. We got the whole spoiler just kaboom on Tuesday.
Came out of nowhere.
Yeah. And,
on cracked.com of all places.
Right.
I mean, it's a more visited site than wizards.com.
It is.
This is a advertising deal, looks like, and you know, high five. They made it look good. It had a whole interview with Mark Rosewater in there.
It did look really good.
And they also chose to reveal the set all at once. There was no like spoiler season for it.
Right, and it was just like, bam, here's the lands. Bam, here's a video from Gavin Verhey showing the foiling off, which is great. And bam, in came the sales. Turns out this Unsanctioned got, you know, a big sales boost as a result of actually seeing what's in it. And you can see what's in it right now on the screen if you have it up right now. We're looking at all the white cards where Andrea Radek, one of our former coworkers from Ruben, is now illustrating Magic cards, which is fantastic. There are some terrific reprints in here. There's some awesome new cards like Flavor Judge, which is great. I also appreciate the fact that things like Look at Me, I'm R&D, they've updated again to the actual correct ruling in Gatherer.
They also updated Johnny Combo Player to have Clark Clan Ironworks and some other things in there too, which is really nice. I'm really looking forward to the card that really slayed me was Pippa, Duchess of Dice. The level of detail in this card is just absurd. When you really look at her dress, like her shoulders, her pauldrons are dice. The gray spot in front of her dress are dice. Her crown or her hair is dice. The throne has a dice pattern in it. Like, this is just brilliant. Like, I love this character so much.
It is
the set surreal. Is dope. There are two big highlights. Well, I mean, squirrels. Obviously, squirrels are amazing, and everything squirrels related is amazing. Two big highlights for me: the lands, which both sets of lands, the regular ones that have the hidden squirrels in them, are spectacular, and of course the full art lands like any unset. The island in particular, I think, looks really good with the squirreling process. And the Surgeon General Commander is a new green legend that theoretically is previewing, speaking to a future keyword.
Yeah, I think MaRo did confirm that. Somebody asked him, it has the word mutate on it, which is something we haven't seen before. And somebody asked him if that was intentional, if that's something we can look forward to. And he did confirm that that's coming down the pike.
Right. Do note in the package, you'll get 12 of the sort of regular lands, sort of the squirrel lands, as it were, the squirrel hidden in the basic land. You'll get one foil extended art land, and you'll also get one non-foil extended art land.
So 2 total lands?
So 14 total of each. You'll get, you'll get 12 islands, and then one foil extended art island and one non-foil extended art island.
Got it.
And you'll do that for all 5 colors.
Expensive.
Yes, they are. This is the type of product at $50 is basically going to pay for itself. If you just took the lands out and threw the rest away, you have probably made money at that point. These are terrific. They're going to be hard to find. Once this product sells out, it's going to be way difficult to find this because it wasn't just a pack. It wasn't a pack that you opened that had a land in it every time, like it had for Unhinged or Unglued or whatever. No, you had to buy the whole box set, had to bust the box set up so you couldn't play it as intended, and then somehow trade it or sell it in order to get it from that point. So fairly rare product, quite frankly, before it's going to be over.
I am sad that we didn't get to preview a card from Unsanctioned, but I really liked how they just gave it all at the same time. I thought that it actually worked really well. I mean, it's a smaller product. There are fewer new cards.
Right.
Only 15 new cards, a couple of new arts as well.
Right.
Timmy and Johnny getting updates among others. But yeah, I thought, and then putting it on Cracked with the interview, really good interview by whoever the author was too, by the way, insightful questions and fun answers. And I thought that this was just a really good rollout for a product.
Yeah, I thought they did a really great job at sort of showcasing the set and what's in it, and the coolest part is the things like Topsy Turvy being downgraded to an uncommon because they didn't want to have the holo stamp mess it up.
Yeah, the holo stamp was the issue.
Yeah, which is fantastic. So you have all these little Easter eggs that they spoiled the whole set, right? But then we, as the Magic community or super and franchise, get to go back and go, oh, look, they updated the Oracle text, and oh, check it out, there's squirrels in the lands and stuff. All those things that you don't see at first glance, we get to really bask in, which is fan-freaking-tastic. So that product is great, and it's on sale right now. All right, gather townsfolk. Let's talk a little bit about MagicFest New Jersey.
Oof.
What began as a very positive, you know what I mean? They sold out. They completely sold out. They constructed limited fanatic packages, the 3-day passes for the command zone, and then they said, not to worry. There are still plenty of scheduled and on-demand events all weekend. Well, that was on January 23rd, and then things happened. Like the weekend.
As of 11 a.m. Saturday, the venue was at capacity. And according to reports, and I was keeping an eye on this throughout the weekend, this is a venue that they've been to before that has historically been a problem in terms of not being the most comfortable and having ventilation issues and temperature issues and things like that. The venue apparently had a cap of like 1,500. Like the venue can only fit 1,500. The event itself capped at 14. And if I understand that correctly, that didn't include side events. So like you planned for this event, but you didn't take into account that this is a really popular set that people were really eager to crack open. This is also a venue that's very centralized where people are able to come from different states and get here. And before we knew it, it just turned into a bit of a disaster where I was clicking on the hashtag, which is where I get a lot of my news from. And the feedback we were getting was just disastrous. And several Reddit posts came out of it. And Channel Fireball made a tweet at one point that was like, if you didn't pay for a Fnatic package, like you could not just show up and sign up for a side event. That was not on the table. Like, can you imagine like not being able to just walk into your GP and go, hi, I'm here for like the 2-headed giant at 2 or something like that. It wasn't possible. Like that was wild.
And someone here in the chat, Cutie Mark Mason notes that there were nearly 500 drafts run. No one who purchased an event ticket was prevented from playing. So, you know, there are, I think, you know, there's definitely two sides to the story of CFB trying their best to do, you know, deal with a bad situation. But at the same time, it's how much of the situation was of their own making. You know, at which point could you have said, maybe we should have 1,200 in the main event and slice this off for Commander and have this much for side events, because we don't have if that was the true capacity, that's just not anywhere near enough, particularly when you're trying to do this whole Soul Ring, you know, promo stuff for Command Zone while also trying to make all these you know, main event players happy.
I do think it's interesting that sort of the side events were, you know, kind of the straw that broke the camel's back, because we've talked about how Wizards has really shifted focus from the main event to side events. They want those unique visits, those unique views or whatever. And so it's interesting that this is really what pushed it over the edge was the talk. I mean, the main event itself was successful, and I'm sure people are happy about that, but it's really all the butts that got in the seats for the side events that it seems like whatever they're doing to get these people into the GPs is working. They just haven't quite caught up to that yet in terms of how to accommodate that.
Right. And Pharmacist Judge makes a good point. Like, this was kind of an anomaly. I don't think CFB expected to sell out by any means. Basically, it turns out that Theros Beyond Death is a very good set in Limited. It's super fun to play. I think they did a great job balancing all the mechanics, and Escape plays super great. I just love the set entirely in Limited, and I think a lot of people do as well. And so this limited event got everybody to show up. And then
the command zones are still fairly new, you know, so I don't think there was a way to really prepare for those either. I think maybe they thought, you know, depending on how far this event was booked out, maybe they thought it wouldn't do as well.
Right. And so
yeah, I mean, it's confusing because Jersey always tends to be a big event just because of how close it is to New York and Philly, and it's an East Coast centralized location. It's right after a set's been released, so you could theoretically see an uptick in Limited. There was a CommandFest there. Those are always going to have the right, the number of people. So it's confusing in retrospect to be confused. But I mean, they've been to this site before. That it's a new set. You always know it's going to be an uptick. Like I am at a loss kind of as to how this one wasn't seen coming.
It certainly inspired me to book Detroit already. You know, I've been planning a trip to GP Detroit with my boyfriend and a friend of ours, and for a while it was like, we'll get around to it when we can. You know, we'll just see what happens. And it's like, did you book? We better book. It's not until like mid-March, but you better believe I'm going to have that pass by the end of the week tops.
It's just that it feels like someone made a mistake in that letting too many main event players happen, and then once they kind of realized it, they let 1,400 people sign up. So we got to run it, and here we are. So, but note, it's not just from the player perspective that we heard from. A judge made a Reddit thread where they said it was just as bad for judges as it was for players. It was way worse for the players, who couldn't even play, games there. And funny note, I heard from someone there that for the first time, and they've been going to GPs for many, many years, they were seeing people like sitting down in like, you know, groups of 4 just playing Commander or whatever on the floor because there was nowhere else to go and nowhere else to play. And that's kind of insane. But they said for one of the first MagicFest since Channel Fireball events decided to cut judge pay at the start of the year. They used to get paid $150 and 2 boxes per day. Now they get paid $125 and 2 boxes, a 17% pay cut on their cash payments. And note that they don't pay, CFB does not pay for hotel rooms or travel. The judges have to get there themselves. They have to pile into hotel rooms, usually 4 or 5 at a time, in order to make this anywhere remotely affordable, let alone, you know, profitable. Lol. Yikes. I mean, that just seems ridiculous because after you got to get there, you got to eat, you got to get back and forth, and you got to get back home. There's nothing left on the bone. That's all there is to it. So treating the judges worse turns out gets you worse judges. They noted that the quality of judges they've been working with has gone down as well. They lost a lot of the A-list quote-unquote judges over the last few years because look how tough it would be to build and keep morale in a world where Wizards has done nothing but abandon the judge program, it seems like, as quickly as possible, and have gone so far as to say these big events don't even need judges. Your PTQs don't even require judges. And so what does that mean for someone who's, you know, dedicated their life basically to making this work?
And as Pharmacist Judge is noting in the chat, an L1 and an L3 got paid the same if they were doing the same. Now, if you get a bump if you're a team lead, but it's the same regular pay. So if you're an L3, been doing this for years, it's not worth it. It's like it's tough. It's a tough sell. Yeah. Whereas if you're, you know, wet behind the ears, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, this is my first.
It seems like a lot.
This is my first trip far away from home, like Samwise Gamgee, like that's, yeah, you're gonna feel like you're a special occasion. But
I mean, we can certainly feel like Nostradamus all we want in predicting that, hey, a monopoly on these events is going to create a worse experience, but
we did,
and we certainly did. And here we are with pools not being pre-registered anymore. Your sealed pools were not pre-registered, so you had to spend all this time going back and forth and giving the paper and marking all the things, and, you know, Judge, come here, they marked this wrong, and having to go through all of that, which just made the judges' days longer. Like the players can essentially deal with it, as it were, but if the judges are there another 30, another 45 minutes, man, that'll wear on you after a 12, 14-hour day.
We've had a good time here on this special episode of Magic Mics, but it's time to stop complaining. What's the fix? How do we make it better?
You know, it's weird when, like, your kind of argument just kind of boils down to you could just kind of plan better and treat people better. Like, I don't. I mean, I'm not trying to be mean about it. I'm not trying to be mean about it. I'm just like, you need to recognize that if, like, you know, the worst case happens and everyone wants to come to your event, you have to be able to manage that. So it feels like in New Jersey, they just had such a high cap. They're like, no, 1,400 people are going to show up for limited.
The other solution here is, so this venue, do we know what the venue was named? Is it the venue that like SCG used to use for the SCGs in the Northeast?
I don't know.
Big warehouse. I'm
told that it's the same venue they've used every time. That's what I've been told.
Because there's the GP New Jersey venue in Southern Jersey that can hold a gazillion people. Like, why not just put it there? Why not just put it there though? Like you don't have half these issues if you just have a bigger room. It's one of the issues. Yeah, I know. The bigger room is not more expensive. This is the reason why North Jersey and New York area and Boston area and Chicago area GPs don't happen, is because the square footage costs more.
Right.
So why bother putting it in North Jersey when for the same price, let's say, you can put it in South Jersey and have twice as much space? Like, I don't get it.
I'm not sure, but we got to keep moving on. We got lots and lots of stuff to talk about, and that's always a good problem here. We get to move on and talk about Magic Rivals. The Rivals League has officially been announced. It's on the screen right now for you to check out to see all of the competitors. We got Kai Bude, we got Stanislav Sivka, we have some Kenji is in there, Kenji Igashira, Eric Froelich made it, which is awesome. Jessica Stefan, fantastic. Emma Handy is on there, which was a huge surprise, and that's awesome. And let's see, was there essentially, because they've chosen people who weren't necessarily on the tops of these charts, whatever those charts may be, whatever the players' points may be, it's caused some amount of consternation amongst those who weren't chosen. So we have Ali Warfield, who's done a fantastic job, not only in content creation, but she's actually got plenty of results. It's not like
she top 16 the last Pro Tour.
Right. So like this isn't
Beatrice Grancha also, who is Aaliyah Deshane, I think, on Twitter.
Who was top on the ladder one of the months.
Yeah. So specifically in terms of the non-male competitors, you know, they've all proven their worth in different ways. Greg Orange also was invited as well. So this is Luis Vargas is here. This is a really nice mix of people. I'm a big fan of Bernardo Santos, who I worked with on Team Card Hoarder. A lot of really great faces here. I love this website. I also love the videos that they've been putting out for the actual.
That's for Worlds.
Yeah, for Worlds.
Yes.
Yeah,
it's tangential, but I'm giving them credit that they're doing a good job with star building and promoting. These are good pictures. The website is nice.
Yes.
I like what they're doing.
Yeah, I think Wizards star building has definitely kicked up a notch, and I'm honestly I'm super proud. They found out that they have this awesome talent, and if you know what, you put it on screen and you make it interesting and you have a cool look to it, you give people a reason to care more about not just your event, but also these people who are in your event, these people who you're paying lots of money, who you should be getting the most out of, and this is a way to do it. So way to go, Wizards! You're crushing
website's really good, by the way. Magic.gg/rivals. It has a lot of, it's very easy to use. It links to the players' Twitch pages when they go live. It has hover capability. It lets you download Arena right from the website. I mean, it's got so much going. This is just a really well done product.
Yeah, it's somebody worked really hard on this, and I want to congratulate them for that hard work. All right. Wizards has unveiled a really terrific promo. I want to bring it up here on screen so you guys can check it out. There are going to be essentially streaming parties. Watch parties is a way to put it, but kind of streaming parties during the World Championship weekend. This is the weekend of Valentine's Day, where if you go to your local WPN Premium store, they are going to have a standard event there. And the top 16 of this standard event are going to get the Crucible of Worlds I am showing you on the screen right now.
16.
Yes, the top 16, and this is every WPN Premium store. This is also, for example, this is every Cool Stuff game store.
Nice.
So any of those in Florida you go to, we're going to have this event on that on February 14th at 11 a.m. and we're going to rock it. And so, if you show up and there's less than 16, congratulations. I cannot see a world where this promo is not at least worth $50+.
I was just going to say the cheapest Crucible you can find is from 2019, and it's $18.
Right.
Top end is a Kaladesh Invention, which is 115. The Judge promos are more than 60. I think that you're definitely safe assuming this is going to be more than 30. At the very, very, very least.
And I think these events, at least some that I've seen, are like $10 an entry or something. Like,
sure,
there's lots of value here, and plus, there could be their prices on top of that.
Other prizes,
right. So, so this is a way to get people out to not only highlight the stream, but give them a reason to go to their local store. What we've been begging Wizards to do. So again, this is great. Wizards did a great job. I love this promotion.
Really good stuff.
Way to crush it. You both get to promote your cool event and the people in your cool event with those awesome videos, but give people a reason to go to the store and have a community built around Magic that cares about the big event. That's great. This was great.
If it weren't for the Jersey venue being too small, we wouldn't have even complained yet, and we're 20 minutes into this show.
All right. It's crazy.
Good week for
our
Magic
next topic's
so far.
coming up, and
I know that's why I'm saying it now. It's because we got our next topic coming up.
All right, 23 whole minutes. Well, look, Wizards this week announced the Magic the Gathering Creator Program. And the Creator Program is in a partnership with something called Stream Elements.
Oof, I felt the heat come off of Aaron through the computer screen there.
Stream Elements, as I understand it, is a way for you to engage with your audience via your stream in different ways. And it somehow hooks into some rewards that you can get for your audience that you can use as a result of being part of this program, which is kind of interesting. Such as, for example, you get, game codes and things, and, you get sort of gem rewards you can give out, stuff like that, which is cool. But at the bottom of this page, after they kind of explain, like, hey, you can be a streamer, you can do things and whatever, and fulfill challenges. If you stream for 4 hours, they'll give you some stuff to give away.
Did you see that they also suggested you stream for like 12+ hours?
Thank God.
And they had to go back and change it. They were like, that was a rough draft. That shouldn't have went live. Like, okay,
Yeah, they're like, we
Who are you trying to convince?
We didn't mean to create a very unhealthy incentive. But at the very bottom of it, check it out. Aaron, tell us what's down there at the bottom of that page. What are they talking about?
So, I mean, we'll get to that in a second, but this whole thing made me irrationally angry because this is not the first time that we've seen a content creator initiative started by Wizards that's really just for streamers. Remember at Vegas, they had that content creator panel that was just for streamers, and that's fine. I have no issue with streamers. Obviously, I'm on Twitch right now.
Call it a streamers panel.
Right, then call it a streamers panel. But Wizards seems to have this very narrow view of what content is, and content is more than just streaming. I posted a tweet the other day that I was like, if you're a blogger, if you're a podcaster, if you're a cosplayer, if you do alters, if you brew, if you're one of those people that posts a bunch of deck lists before an early access event, you are making content. And so if you're going to have a content creators initiative and you are not going to include these people of different stripes, then you might as well just call it a streamers initiative. And that's fine. I have no issue with that, but just be about it instead of wrapping it in this noble construct that doesn't make any sense. Most of this article that came out, so the news was revealed on a stream, and then they published an article summarizing it, which they normally do, and like 75% of the article was streamer based. You had to go all the way down like the bottom 25%, and then they mentioned this weird fund for like YouTubers. Greenlight, but you have to already have a business plan in place. You have to already have money in order to apply to get more money. And so, you know, it doesn't make a lot of sense. There's a lot of hoops in it. The community manager went on Twitter afterwards and did an AMA of sorts where she was like, yeah, you know, we want to work with all these people. And I'm just not a fan. Like, I just need you to think bigger than streamers. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, sort of like, you know, devil's advocate, I do think they say pitches should include goals, a business plan, promotion plan, and a budget breakdown. I'm not sure if that means you have to have a lot of money to start out with, but I want to back up a little bit and say, you're taking $1 million, right? And you've clearly stopped making things like Friday nights, and you've stopped some of the LRR programs. And like, what if my suggestion is just give the money back to LRR and let them keep making stuff?
Exactly.
Like,
I understand. I can see wanting to diversify your portfolio a little bit. Not that there's anything wrong with LRR, but I could see maybe wanting to get some fresh blood into things.
Sure. But at the same time,
if I were LRR, I would just wait for the other pitches to go,
and then just drop in.
Just be like, here's our pitch, and then Graham is just like,
the studio that we have. It's really cool. We should do something there. All I'm saying is, it's weird to me. This feels very similar to like the Hawaiian t-shirt or whatever, where they're asking you to be like, could you make up some good ideas for like community building and a community?
We don't want to build a business plan, so instead what we're going to do is we're going to throw money off of the balcony, and whoever catches the money can keep the money.
Yeah.
Like, I just
what it feels like.
Right. If it feels like, you know, if you had $1 million and you had a whole marketing department full of interesting, smart people who could go spend money in interesting, smart ways, that you should let them do that. And it's so odd to me where you're saying, like, are you telling me from $5,000 to $250,000 you're going to take somebody off the internet and give them $250,000 to do their whatever? Like, okay, sure. Like, but at the same time, aren't you supposed to take the $250,000 and do whatever? Aren't you supposed to make Ulamog, come out of a convention center or whatever? Like, that's your $250,000 idea. That's the stuff that we got excited about. What are we doing? What are we doing here?
It's a little strange. I mean, this is this newfangled world of viral get people to compete for jobs that a lot of people do. I mean, Joseph Gordon-Levitt's whole Twitter feed is nothing but his hit record Joe, like, record your audio for this thing and maybe win $500, and it's a lot of those. It's exactly like the Hawaiian t-shirt kind of stuff. It's weird. I mean, it's a sea change. It's very clear that whoever was in charge of marketing is different than whoever was in charge of marketing less than a year ago. It's like 9 months at this point that we've had this kind of situation. I'm not a fan. If it's working, cool. Like, whatever. It's not my favorite. Like, it's not how advertising works in my brain. But, you know, I record this show from my closet, so what do I know?
Look, here would be a fun one. Okay, I would say, with at least some authority in that, like, I have been involved in the promotion of some of the largest Magic events of all time.
Oh, here we go.
that if Wizards of the Coast were to give me $250,000, I will guarantee I will.
Your kids could go to college?
Yes. First of all, well, most of them. Let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Right,
it's the
there's
US
5 of them. $250,000.
They can all go to beauty school. It's fine.
They can all take a 2-year.
All I'm saying is, you give me $250,000, I guarantee we will have the largest Magic event of all time. I will get butts in seats like you've never seen in your life. Because,
I mean,
you're
not wrong.
Did we bring 4,000 registered people to New Jersey? 5,000 people in the room? Give me that money. I will show you what we can do with it. I will take
Evan
it
just shows up with a whiteboard that's like Charlotte, New Jersey, Miami, and it's just like, what else do you need something else from me? Yeah,
it's cool.
But also,
I would love.
You're not going to apply to this.
No, that'd be a fantastic.
He's my guest.
Well, it'd be a fantastic challenge. But like,
are you kidding? He's not going to apply to that. He won't even let me write articles for another site. Are you serious?
So yeah, of course. So, but this is going to be all self-starters.
Yes.
Who are like go-getters, really excited to get in there. And so this isn't going to include the old hats like Evan and the old hats, or like me, or like I assume LRR isn't going to waste their time with this kind of like reapplying for the job they once had. But it is going to bring in new blood, hopefully, and I'd be interested to see what pops up.
I'm interested to see how much freedom they're going to have, because, if they're going to be beholden to Wizards to a certain degree, like, are they going to be able to control what kind of like content you're making? Like that's something that kind of worries me a little bit.
This sounds like a lot. Sorry, I apologize for interrupting you. This sounds a lot to me like, first of all, sour grapes from us, because we're old people who are making content on the internet that Wizards of the Coast doesn't. Well, are we streamers? This isn't just stream. Is this a stream? Are we streamers?
I mean, I guess.
We are on Twitch and we're live, so I'm going to say we're streaming.
And we have subs to our Twitch channel.
We do. Thank you, everybody.
Okay, so we're streamers, right? So we're the halves of the haves and have-nots of the streamer discussion of how to be a streamer when you talk about content creators that don't include writers, cosplayers, sculptors, whatever.
Sure.
But we're still kind of hating a little bit, right?
I mean, it's just.
It sounds like hating.
I think hating comes if you don't have a leg to stand on, and I think we've brought up several shaky legs so far.
I think, well, as I always like to say, I feel like I'm tough but fair.
Yeah.
I feel like it is fair to mention, hey, this kind of feels like you want to outsource ideas without officially outsourcing them from like a different marketing company.
That's the problem I have.
Which then feels like, then it feels like free labor, because if you don't like the ideas, well, all that time they spent trying to make that idea into some sort of reality or some sort of presentation is completely wasted. And we've seen things like that in the past. And I'm just saying, it seems a little weird how they are approaching it.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I like this. I like the suggestion of just give Ristic Studies $250,000.
Yes,
that's fine too. It's okay. And I like Pharmacist Judge noting that I'm going to send my kids to Tolarian Community College. That's right. That's affordable, y'all. It's affordable, free on the internet. All right, take a look at these awesome promos. Artist Mark Tadine did the new Soul Ring promo that's given out at CommandFests, and he has the artist proofs. Artist proofs are blank on the back of them, and they only make 50 of them lifetime. And so there's only 50 non-foil Soul Rings, only 50 foil Soul Rings on the planet, and you can get a non-foil for $250 or a foil for $500. And if you ball so hard, you too can have a really sweet Soul Ring.
Somebody will buy these. I mean, we've said before that, casual players and Commander players love spending money. And, this is the type of thing that they will absolutely go for. I've never really understood the appeal of proofs to begin with, but I think somebody will like this, and I think it's a really good idea.
One of the appeals for proofs for me is that there is a blank canvas on the back to get personalized.
Okay.
And so I look forward to seeing the artist proofs that are with original pen drawing of Tadine or something else.
And a lot of artist proof are sort of used that way, where you'll buy the artist proof from Steve Argyle or whoever, and you'll like, hey, here's another $50 to $100. Please go nuts on the back and draw me a Liliana or something.
And it's like jewelry. The Soul Ring is like your nice suit, right? Like that's the thing that you bring out for your super nice commander.
Do you have one of those in your closet that you record in?
Do I have a nice suit? I do.
Yes, in fact, it's right next to him.
It's
hanging
right
up
next to me, hanging up in the closet. I'm not kidding. Here we go.
Look at there it is. There it is, ladies and gentlemen. Look how pretty that is.
You asked. Don't ask if you can't handle the results.
You did, and you did not disappoint.
All right, so
at this point, I can only apologize.
Yeah. So let's move on here real quick from not only kind of one promo to a really different kind of promo. And I want to harken back real fast to Ruben. You know, back in the day, we would just beg. We would beg Wizards for any scrap of promotional material to use at an event.
Yep.
And here we have an event in Japan, and obviously, high five. I love events. It's great. They have what looks to be custom stamped rares. There is it's a Vraska Golgari. What's the name of this one? Vraska
Golgari Queen.
Golgari Queen, and then the experiment. What's the
Experimental Frenzy?
Experimental Frenzy. Thank you so much. So, Experimental Frenzy, Golgari Queen here, and they have a stamp of an 8 on the Experimental Frenzies, and Vraska has a 1 stamped on it in foil. And I'm like,
for your top 8 and for your win.
How in the world did they get this? How did this happen? I
don't know. I've never seen anything like this.
I'm telling you, there's organizers all over the world, not just in America or wherever, who would kill for something like this to be customized in any fashion. How does this happen? I'm honestly curious. I would love to know how this process works.
TOs for a decade have been like, please, Wizards, let us do anything with actual Magic cards.
Right.
If we can do anything with any actual Magic card, it'll become a collector's item.
Right. Like
if you put an 8 on a basic Plains, it'll be a collector's item. These are spectacularly cool. So
yeah, they're cool, unique. I mean, that one Vraska is going to be the only one in existence, far as I know, that has a giant 1 shield stamped on it.
Now, did they get Wizards approval, or was this did they just do this in house? That's my question.
That's a good question. I would love to know.
If it's in-house, that's some talent right there.
It's some talent if it's in-house, that's for sure.
It's true. They got their own proxy guy, as it were. Really quickly, I wanted to mention, because we don't always get to mention EU things, there is currently an Influencer Brawl happening on the EU side. These are all EU-friendly times and dates from streamers who are streaming from the EU as well. And Wizards gets to highlight them, and the event from January 25th all the way to February 22nd. So if you check out their Wizards EU Twitter account, which is at Wizards_Magic EU, you can see plenty of these happening, essentially. There's going to be one January 29th at 1700 GMT, and because I live in America, I don't know what GMT is, and I don't know how far off I am.
Greenwich Mean Time.
I understand what it means, but I don't know like what time it is. What's 1700 in Eastern Standard?
I think it's +5 for you, so that would be... So that would be 12.
Yeah, I just clicked on the Magic Europe Twitter account, and they've been tweeting out these pictures of these sort of versus screens with names and Twitch handles and giving you dates and times. There's a little bit of star building going on here. This is cool.
I'll take it. All right.
I wish I was a young person and I knew who any of these people were.
We don't have time.
Or you lived in the EU and knew who these people were.
Or I lived in the EU and knew who I was. Well, I would certainly add more years to my life and feel like a younger person if I lived in the EU. So
right, you have better healthcare. Let's face
Ruben
it.
Euben Bressler.
All right.
REU is how I spell my name. So
that's the very good point. Well, congrats to Wizards for getting sort of making a business deal here with Skybox Labs. They announced a huge news for the studio. They're going to partner with Wizards Magic to support the development of MTG Arena.
Nice.
They're big Magic fans at Skybox Labs, and they're excited to contribute to such a beloved and historic franchise. And then they say, hey, we got job openings. Turns out we need peeps.
Yeah.
Right.
Which is great.
we got a bigger thing to work on now. So
yeah, I mean, it sounds like they have a big wish list for Arena, and they need more staff to make that happen. And kudos to them for being self-aware of that and taking steps to fix it. I think that's a good thing, as opposed to putting their fingers in their ears and not doing anything about it.
Yeah, on the jobs page, they're currently looking for a senior software engineer for Magic Arena and a software engineer, just a normal slot there. And we'll see if they can get the people in there to help them out.
Yeah.
All right. Let's keep moving here. There was a very sort of heartfelt post here from Matthew Foulkes about his brother, who unfortunately passed away, and how he was raising money in order to participate in. It's a charity. There's a half marathon that he wants to be a part of.
So his brother appears to have passed away from sudden death and epilepsy, and so his brother had ran a marathon called the Bath Half Marathon, with the money going towards fighting epilepsy, and so he is doing a marathon stream to also raise money for this cause, and it's interesting how he chose to promote this. He kind of added it to a sideboard guide and a deck list, which he knew that everybody would click on, and then he added 2 notes to it. One of them announcing his intentions to do this stream, and then the other posting the eulogy that he gave to his brother at his funeral. And this is a really great cause. This is a terrible tragedy. His brother was young. He died very, very suddenly. My condolences to the family, but kudos to Matt. He has a huge platform, and I've always said that this is what having a platform is all about. None of the followers, none of the streams, none of the views mean anything if you can't do anything meaningful with them. And he is taking his huge following that he has on Twitch and turning it into something positive, and I hope it goes well for him.
Right, and taking a huge tragedy in his life and trying to say, you know what, from that I was able to do this, and so if you can help him out, you can support him, obviously do so. And we're
good player, good deck builder,
and a brilliant little marketing strategy here.
Absolutely.
Sticking on the best Pioneer deck in the format. Oh, I'm sorry, what was that? I'm sorry, best Pioneer deck? Oh, okay, and then this other thing pops up.
Yeah.
Very nice. All right, Magic Arena announced something I was a little surprised by.
Yeah, this was a little surprising.
Turns out that Gary, Gray Merchant of Asphodel, of course, is the most redeemed card ever.
I don't know what that means.
So it means that it's the most...
Crafted.
It's the card that has been crafted the most ever.
Gotcha.
Which is kind of shocking.
So it means people are playing a lot. People are playing this card a lot.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, 30% more redemptions than any other card. That's insane.
Which is wild to me.
And of course, the first reply on the tweet is Jeff Hoogland.
Sure. What does Jeff have to say?
Weird that people like iconic reprints, almost like you should make sure to give borderless options to cards that are very likely to be popular.
Okay. Well, notwithstanding Jeff's delightful cynicism, it's a little surprising because, first of all, this announcement was like a week after the set release, like a couple days after the set release. I don't know how that's possible. Also, it makes sense that it's an uncommon, I think, because everyone has a gazillion uncommon wild cards. You want to have 4 of this in the deck that you're playing.
Right.
People know this card is good from its history last time, so like that all kind of tracks. But the most all time in like 3 days, I don't know about that.
That's a whole heck of a lot. Well, from the trying to, I guess, explain themselves portion here of as we move into Desperate Ravings, Wizards has sort of done their best to kind of explain what happened with the Theros story. They've stepped in it quite deep when they have put out inserts about, follow Elspeth in as she battles her way out of the underworld. MTGstory.com insert, go to MTG Story. Go to MTGstory.com right now and notice how they have the original Theros ebooks at the very tip top, as if that's good enough to kind of be like, oh, you can follow her journey into the underworld and out of the underworld. I don't know, there's some story spotlight cards, right? Good luck, kid. Well, through a odds and ends article, Mark Rosewater got to call in someone from their franchise team. And it's this weird kind of thing they sort of explain where, and this is Jeremy Jarvis explaining this. And I've met Jeremy. He's super cool guy. I got to hang out with him in Rome. It was fantastic. And so super good guy. And he's saying, look, what you're seeing is Magic's franchise team testing and learning. So it's funny because they're basically saying, Wildered Quest, this is the ebook for Throne of Eldraine, was very successful, more successful than expected. But by then they had already made the call to essentially cut the Theros story. So then they were going to go from a successful ebook into essentially nothing.
Well, no, he mentions that the blowback from Forsaken was a factor, that it illuminated we needed a better validation strategy, not only for representation, but for narrative content in general. So we made the hard call to delay Theros Beyond Death Fiction until we could create a new vetting process. So, some things did happen between the Eldraine story and
Right,
ever,
but the book, as I recall, the book was released before Throne of Eldraine.
You're right. Sorry about that.
So that way, that's just why the timing is kind of weird. So ultimately, they went through with Eldraine story. It went fine, and then here we are with this weird delay. Ultimately, they said with Ikoria, they're going to return to the EPUB strategy, and they're going to find the correct time and channel to release the Theros Beyond Death fiction, which kind of says like they wrote it, but they didn't release it.
Yeah, because
that would be fortunate.
It does seem like there is a good
chamber.
Yeah, it seems like there is a good amount of groundwork here that indicates that the story was done to some degree, and you have to wonder, like, how bad was it?
I mean, clearly they plotted it out in terms of, like, here's the story of the big plot points and the story moments, and I get that, but, like, I don't really understand, because what we got, as you recall, it was this 1,000-word, like, almost hastily written with some misspellings in there when they first posted it. Like, it was kind of a hot mess when they first were like, hey, here's the story. Here it is. Okay, bye. See you later. You know, enjoy having... They found a nook and cranny somewhere in the underworld and got to just squeeze right out of it. So, like, all right, I guess. And here we are. So, Ikoria hopefully will be much, much better. We can only hope. Willy Edel, awesome Magic player, friend of the show, noted here on Twitter, he says, as a store owner, it is very awkward to explain to my customers that I can't sell boosters/singles to them. I can't have drafts, and they can't use the cards they opened at the pre-release this week, being the release week. Meanwhile, they can buy these on Arena and Magic Online and even play a PTQ with the new cards on one of those platforms.
Yeah, BDM also, I mean, many people have brought up the fact that pre-releases seem to be a thing of the past, you know, what with how easily available the set is on the digital platforms and how the paper Magic seems to lag behind. And so, you know, Willy being another prominent voice, kind of adding himself to this chorus of people that, you know, is really asking, is the pre-release even necessary anymore? And, you know, if it is, can the timing be changed so that these cards can be used? I know I was really surprised when the Commander folk started tweeting. I remember I had opened that Lamia at the pre-release and they were like, those cards are legal in Commander, like go ahead and use them. And I was like, oh, you're right. And like, it didn't even occur to me. Like I was prepared to wait for it, even though it was Commander. And yeah, there is that weird timing thing of when can I use these cards and that awkwardness.
There's a certain point where you go, you know, we're still kind of doing stuff in a 90s-esque way, or even early 2000s if I want to be kind of gracious about it. But like, maybe we should rethink what this means, because back in the day you had to wait weeks to play it on Magic Online, and now they're literally cutting out from under these organizers and or these stores who want to run events, and you can go on Arena all day, play with your new cards. You can't go to the store where you just bought these cards, but they just let you buy a booster box at the pre-release, but you cannot play with your new cards at the store. It's just weirdly archaic and kind of splash damagey. Yu-Gi-Oh! Is actually making some changes to the way that they're going to release their product, where now Yu-Gi-Oh! Used to have like sneak peeks where you could go and like buy 5 packs and kind of open duel. Well, now they're going to have pre-releases, they're going to have buy-a-box promos, they're going to have booster boxes that you can purchase at these pre-releases. So it's kind of funny to see like Yu-Gi-Oh! And Magic kind of, you know, play off of each other, because that mythic rarity didn't just fall from the sky, as it were. But regardless, this is like this weird thing they need to figure out. It's okay to have a release event instead of a pre-release event. I understand from a marketing standpoint, you like the, you know, I'm getting to play with it early feel, but at this point in like, you know, modern day, we're just happy to play with it, period. So just let us get at the cards, particularly because the day before I can play standard all I want on Arena with all the new stuff. You already got my money there. Like I bought a paper card and I can't play with it for a week. Like we gotta get moving here in the modern world, and things have changed.
Yeah.
But that's what I hope they recognize. So there was a new card in Theros Beyond Death called Nyx Lotus. And boy, you put the L word in anything.
And the Scooby ears go.
They really do. This is the type of thing where, like, I could just see them being like, all right, artist 1, artist 2, one of y'all gets a Lotus card, and, like, you know, they, like, break a broomstick, throw it in there, lock the door, see who comes out. Because, like, this thing sold the original painting and sketch, for what it's worth, of Nyx Lotus. So, oh my God, that they sold separately. I thought they were together. The original painting sold for $22,500. And the sketch sold for $5,555. That's unbelievable.
That's ridiculous.
Wow.
That's amazing.
And obviously, congratulations to the artist. It's fantastic that the
Raul
artist these days...
Vital.
Yes, Raul Vital has done a terrific job. The card looks beautiful, really crushed it, and that's just one of the iconic things in Magic, and it's just going to bring all the attention and all the dollars when it comes to the original art.
Yeah, that's one of those pieces that we've talked about before in terms of one of the downsides, I guess, of being an artist is that sometimes you make art that doesn't take off, where your art's not on a good card, your art's not on a card that people are playing with or buying a lot of, and so sometimes, there's no demand for playmats or prints or things like that. This is a card that an artist can certainly coast off of. If he wanted to go to events, he could do very well with the prints, with the proofs, with the whatever. And this is like striking gold, essentially.
Right, and for what it's worth, the sketch is like really nice. It's not just like a few scratches on the paper. Like it's,
of course,
it's almost a complete illustration.
Jason Rainville is really, really good at this. He'll do like the gifts and the things that led to the art being completed. And I'm seeing a lot more artists jump on that train too, of really taking you behind the scenes and showing you how the art was done. And I love it.
Yeah,
if you recall, Lotus Field by John Avon set the record for the most expensive single piece of art sold. It was around $32,000. This one also, was it 40?
$40,000.
This one, again, probably top 5 all time.
Probably.
With the word Lotus. So you're not wrong. When you hear the word Lotus, not only do players perk up, but this is a big brass ring to give to your artists, that they are able to do a Lotus anything.
Absolutely. Wanted to kind of pour one out here for strictlyaveragemmtg.com, which unfortunately is no longer going to exist in a couple weeks. There was some terrific content on there, and even some of our supporters were content contributors to the website, which was awesome.
Specifically MTG Packfoils, who's been a beloved patron for some time. It seems like the site I'm looking at right now is mostly him and a guy named Martin Hughes. They seem to be doing the bulk of the writing on this one, but they are more of an independent blog. They're not one of the bigger names like Hipsters or Star City or things like that. I feel like content has changed now to where you can sort of do the independent thing if you want to, but ultimately they are closing their doors due to financial reasons. And so hopefully these guys will be able to find homes elsewhere. There are places like Hipsters, like Legit MTG, that are really great places for authors who are just kind of starting out or who maybe don't have the accolades or the results to really support going to one of the bigger sites. So hopefully they'll have a home somewhere.
Sure.
It used to be that when you were a Magic writer coming up, you started on the blogs. I started after my brief time at Londis.com, which was an actual honest-to-goodness website where they published articles. I joined the TCG Player blogs and was there until I got noticed by Star City Games.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I got in with podcasting, was because I wanted to make Magic content and didn't have any results. I barely knew what Two-Headed Giant was. I had no real experience. No site would take me at that point. And I figured it was easier to break into content as a podcaster. But I think times have changed a little bit now. You're seeing a lot of content sites that want people who maybe don't have the results. They want you writing casual articles. And so I think it's a lot easier to break in than it was when we were coming up.
Sure. And I also think there are certain ways that you can look at kind of holes in the content itself. I think that, for example, there is no This American Life for Magic. Like, there is us yammering, and we like to yammer about the products of the day, but we're not creating like very specific produced pieces that can tell a contained story with sound effects or
Humans
soundtracks.
of Magic, I think, is doing a pretty good job at
It's close.
That.
It's close. That's as close as we have. Yeah. But that's more of a that's close.
But that's also an interview show, correct?
That's an interview show.
I'm thinking of a scripted, I don't think there's any scripted podcast material for Magic.
Telling the story of an event or of a
Right. Again, not just the lore. Like, I think there's already some stuff out there for lore. What I mean is, like, what was your favorite Magic experience, right? And you hear, like, the clink of the keys as the door shuts or whatever, and they're driving out. That type of stuff that you could really kind of, dig your hands into, because no one's really making that type of stuff. And that's the type of stuff I would look for in terms of, like, I want to do something different. Because when we were this podcast started, I was like, no one's just, like, talking about the zeitgeist, talking about the culture, talking about the news of the week. So we should do that. And I felt like we had a nice role in playing that. And I think there's another hole there, just waiting for somebody to fill it. If you're able to get some people together to make some produced pieces that are kind of stuck together on one podcast end to end, it could be very successful.
I agree.
So, all right. Let's see here. We have a few minutes to burn. If anyone has any questions, by the way, feel free to throw some in the chat. There's no such thing as too many topics, but sometimes we start to run out of them.
Well, we got this one topic left, and I think we can fill the rest of the time with this.
We could do a pretty good job, I think. There is some splash damage, and the world of esports is getting kind of weird.
Did you see that just to kind of give us something to talk about, I've noticed that a lot of the teams are moving away from the hideous jersey model, and they're starting to have these really cool sweatshirts, and I'm really interested in that. I think that's a really nice shift.
The fashion of gaming, yeah.
Absolutely. Instead of these awkwardly fitting things.
Right. Well, actually, you know what? I can kick off splash damage 100% thanks to the chat for mentioning Legends of Runeterra, because I've been talking about this in the pre-show.
Yeah. Right.
It just went out into open beta. I signed up for the beta key like a bajillion years ago, so I got to play with it a day early, whatever. Some really interesting sort of contrasts to what Magic Arena is doing. First of all, their tutorial system, the way you learn the game, the way it kind of walks you through, and the way it gives you XP and it gives you rewards for doing that is fantastic and blows away Magic Arenas. The feeling, the feeling of winning, when you win a game on Legends of Runeterra, look at that animation, that sound, it just blows up on the screen. It makes you feel fantastic. The little tiny details they have of their main characters interacting with other spells, or the sort of the spider champion, kind of whistles itsy bitsy spider if you take too long during your turn.
Neat.
Nice.
It's so cool. It's those little types of things that make you go, man, wasn't that a certain cool experience? The gameplay is very similar to Hearthstone. It doesn't even have a color wheel. It doesn't even have a thing in Hearthstone where you have to play a certain, you can only play druid spells or whatever. No, you can basically play whatever you want from any of these factions that you want, and they try to make very synergistic stuff in between all of these factions, so you don't just play the best 1-drop and the best 2-drop. It's these cards work together. It's very combat oriented. If you go to my Twitter, I posted a spiders deck. That's sort of my constructed deck. I put all of my wild cards into making this thing as cool and as streamlined as possible, and I have ran over some people on turn 5, just killing them out of nowhere. It's super duper fun. I don't think it's an arena killer. I don't think Wizards honestly has anything much to worry about, but I do think Riot Games did a very good job. I thought they had a fantastic client. It's fun. I played it today. I was playing some games today. I enjoy the reward system. It's really interesting. You can buy wild cards just straight up. I want a mythic wild card. Boom, you got it. But they only let you buy so many each week, which is kind of odd. If I want a whale, if I want to give you $60 and go completely, hog and build as many decks as I want, you won't let me. It's a little odd. But they also give out rewards every Tuesday, which is kind of strange. But that's when they give you your weekly rewards, is on Tuesday. So you build up to this weekly vault or whatever, and once you max it out at 4,000 XP, you wait till Tuesday, and then they kind of dump it all on you. So it was really weird to kind of look forward to Tuesdays now, just so you can get your Legends of Runeterra stuff.
Right.
So those are my initial impressions. The deck builder's kind of meh. The gameplay is good. Their drafting / sealed thing is kind of
Are there graveyard
odd.
decks?
I don't think there's any graveyard.
No.
You don't even interact with the graveyard. What you do at most is cards will refer to things that have died this game or a thing that has died this turn. There are some of that, but by and large, there's no graveyard.
I'm good.
And again, I think I contrasted this with Eternal, because I think Eternal is in this weird spot of they seem to be making wordier and wordier cards that have more and more of their mana symbols on it. And they just go well, do you like this one that has a million words on it? And I'm like, I don't know what any of those words mean.
There was a card that I saw my buddy John post that said that dragons you control go berserk and never stop.
Yes, I saw that.
That line of text is great. I don't know what it means, but that line of text is great.
Yeah.
And there's a million other words on that card, and I'm sure it's super cool and powerful. I don't know really what it does. And again, Eternal kind of has its own issues where it has 75 card decks, so you have to buy, you have to kind of really invest in a lot of cards in order to make a deck work. So that's kind of its own issue, whereas Legends of Runeterra is 40 card decks, so you have a max of 3 that you can have in any one deck, which again is a nice way to not have to go all in on this one deck, and you can only play one deck forever. But regardless, that's a Legends of Runeterra bit. If you want to know my impressions, I liked it a lot, but Magic's fine. It's no Magic Arena killer. It's also no Artifact, That this game will not disappear.
It's in between.
Yeah, this game will not disappear in 2 months or 3 months or whatever, and quietly whimper away. This will be a fine game that they can support for a couple years, and maybe it lasts, and maybe it just goes the way of Gwent, which kind of was like cool, neat for a while, and then they just stopped funding it, and it just went the way of the dodo. So, I don't know, Ruben, if there's anything you want to speak about necessarily in terms of this YouTube thing, I didn't think it was that great.
I mean, it's big news in the grander scheme of gaming. So YouTube signed exclusive streaming rights for Activision esports. So Call of Duty and Overwatch are moving away from Twitch and into YouTube gaming. This is a pretty big paradigm shift in terms of where you're going to get your streamed gaming content. I know that Kibler was in particular a little upset that you're not going to get to use your Shiro emotes in chat for watching your Overwatch finale or your Hearthstone stuff. Because Hearthstone esports also moved as part of this.
I see.
So not a ton of so that's the big connection to Magic, is that the Hearthstone tournaments aren't going to be on Twitch. The big Hearthstone tournaments, like the World Championships, are going to be on YouTube gaming. And so that's a pretty big deal for both parties involved, and remains to be seen if YouTube gaming can sort of. I mean, YouTube gaming kind of stumbled out of the blocks, I think. They fell behind Facebook gaming as well.
That's
and
unfortunate.
So we'll see. I mean, this is a big move, though, so we'll see if they can catch back up.
I appreciate big, bold moves. I appreciate the mixers, the Microsofts of the world investing in Ninja. I like the fact that there's competitors to Twitch. You don't just give up the game and say, okay, Twitch, you get all the streaming forever and we'll see you later. But the fracturing is also kind of disturbing in that, man, I'm going to have to kind of start remembering which network streaming thing has the thing that I care about, or did they move because they got bought out of a different thing? You know what I mean? It's very similar to the Netflix, phenomenon. Netflix was everything. Everyone was tuning on Netflix, and then boosh, we splintered out. And I don't know if it's in a necessarily good way. So that said, that's going to be really interesting, and we'll see how that shakes out. But we're going to first do our Givity giveaway, which is now ready for a winner. That's right, it's a Givity giveaway. Deal with it. I ran with it. I just did it. Can't stop me.
Good job.
Let's do a winner here for the chat, for those who entered. 3, 2, 1. Congratulations to 00 Busy Hands.
Hey, 00 Busy Hands.
Very
Long
nice.
time.
Excellent job. Congratulations. Please see Aaron to get your $50 gift certificate code. Thanks, of course, to CoolStuffInc.com for providing that gift certificate. And, of course, try next week to get your own, which is awesome. My gosh. All right, we'll move on here. Turn the corner to the finisher. Alexander Clamilton. My name is Alexander Clamilton, and there's a million games I haven't won, but just you wait. Just you wait. So now that the founder of the United States Financial System / Broadway musical cultural touchstone has been immortalized on a new Magic card in Unsanctioned, like so many $10 bills, and $10 is a lot of clams, let's turn it up a notch. What other Magic stories could Lin-Manuel Miranda's genius spice up if we're not going to throw away our shots? Aaron?
I feel like such a bad geek because I just don't have any interest in Hamilton. But while we're talking, let me offer you some free advice. Draw less, dredge more. Don't let them know what you're up against or what you're for. You want to get ahead? Fools who play fair end up dead. Like I said, so good luck with that. You're taking a stand. You spit, I'm a sit, and we'll see where we land.
Ooh, nice. Ruben?
I may be banned to see our glory, but we will gladly join the fight. And when they write articles of our story, they'll describe the archetype of tonight. So raise a 3/3 elk to freedom, something they can never take away, no matter what they tell you. Raise a glass to the 4 of us. Oko, Once Upon a Time, Veil of Summer, and Field of the Dead. And if R&D's recent trends are any indication, tomorrow there'll be more of us. So raise a glass to the 4 of us.
Very nice. Well, let me tell you what I wish I'd known when I was young and dreamed of glory. There is no control. Who discards, who dies, who tells your story? Every archetype's name gets told. Every other archetype gets to grow old. But when your cards cycle, who remembers Control's name? Who gets that fame? Who tells your story? That's right. And that ends.
My name is Alexander Clamilton. My name. Anyway, sorry.
It's on Spotify, Aaron. It's on Spotify.
Yeah. Oh no, I like. So here's the thing.
She's aware.
Here's the thing. I like the remix album. I don't like the original versions. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, that ends another live episode of Magic Mics. Thanks for joining us here to discuss all things Magic. Thank you, Aaron.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Ruben.
What do you want?
Go to bed.
You go to bed.
Go to bed.
Don't tell me what to do.
He knew Hamilton personally.
I don't like the tone of your voice.
And we move to our final slide. I want to thank our sponsor, CoolStuffInc.com, our co-sponsor, CardHoarder.com, my co-host, Aaron Campbell, and who again?
What? Ruben Wrestler.
Yes. You guys for watching and listening. We hope you support us at patreon.com/magicmics. Please follow, like, tweet, favorite, share, subscribe to everything social that tells people we exist. Catch us online on our Discord, twitch.tv at Magic Mics, on Twitter at Magic Mics Cast, our Magic Mics subreddit, and like the Magic Mics page on Facebook. Talk to us privately at magicmicspodcast@gmail.com. Follow the audio-only podcast at magicmicspodcast.libsyn.com, or find us on iTunes or Spotify, or join us here next week, same time, same place, for another episode of Magic Mics. Good night, everybody.